2019, and I thought I would do a walk around on the Bloop 2 for you all, get you a little bit more familiar with what we have here. The Bloop is a motor floater. It's rather unique. You can see it's a biplane. The biplane is strutted with wires, and the wires are flying wires and landing wires. You can see that we don't use turnbuckles on the wires. The flying wires, we use just a straight swedged stainless steel cable, but the landing wires we tighten up with the Vectran, which is the same rope that we use when we connect the control surfaces with the rudder pedals, and also the elevator is connected with Vectran also. So Vectran is very strong, extremely strong. It's very difficult to cut, and it works very well with the Bloop because their wing loading surfaces are so light. And also we have here, the Vectran is used to keep the landing gear from spreading. If we have a hard landing, we use the Vectran to prevent the aluminum struts from bending outward. Another improvement that's been done on the Bloop is the 4-inch fat tire rims. They're aluminum. They come for the BMX type bikes this way, and they make a big difference in your landings as far as absorbing the impact. So the Bloop also has a unique braking system. It uses a front skid, which the Bloop is engineered so that it's slightly nose heavy. I've got this one set where it has about 10 pounds of pressure on the nose with the airframe in the level position, and it keeps the Bloop from digging in too much when you use the nose skid. It'll kind of glide along the dirt, but it's enough pressure to stop it. We can also use the tail skid, which I'll show you in a few minutes. Instrumentation on the Bloop is minimal. We have an altimeter. This is a stock altimeter out of an airplane, which I just hung on there with a off-the-shelf Walmart bracket. This is actually for a drink cup. It's velcroed on and works very well. I haven't had any problems with it at all. And also we have a tachometer. This tachometer has 55 hours on it. I think I had about 10 hours on it when it was when I first got the Bloop from Mike. And then we have a EGT and CHT. The EGT is not working right now on this one, and the CHT is. CHT being cylinder head temp, EGT meaning exhaust gas temperatures. So that kind of gives us the totality of our engine monitoring. And then we have an ignition switch. That's on. This is off. So when it's this position, that's the default. It's on. So in order to turn it off, you have to physically move the toggle switch to turn it off. That way, if it's in the on position, it's not going to accidentally be turned off while you're flying. So this is the throttle. Throttle has a tensioner. The tensioner allows the throttle to be either very loose or you can make it very, very strong. You can make it so strong that you can't even move it. But it works very well. It's an off-the-shelf thing, and the cable that goes to the engine, to the carburetor, is basically a go-kart throttle cable that I got offline. The gas tank is a 2.5 gallon gas tank. You get this at California Power Systems. It has a vented gas tank cap, and it has also a fuel on and off switch, which I use just to keep the fuel in the fuel line when I'm not running it. And it also has a primer bulb to prime the engine. Priming this engine is very simple. You prime it for a half of a second squeeze on the primer bulb, and that's more than enough to give it fuel to start. And then we have above the primer bulb, there is a fuel filter. In this case, I have a very small expanded bronze fuel filter, and it seems to be pretty effective. So you can see that the gas tank is just held on with Vectran. This is the Vectran. It's kind of dirty because it's full of fuel and oil that's been spilled on it over the time, and it just rests on the wing. And my fuel gauge is this handy dandy little convex mirror, which I can see if I turn my head, crank it over real far, and I can tell from the translucent tank how much gas is in it. So again, here's the other tire, and you can see that we've been doing a lot of off-road stuff here because there's plenty of mud on the underside of the, which I got to clean off before I fly today. We can go around back here. This is the other wing. The struts are bolted on, one up top, one down at the bottom. Oh, and these are the Vortex Generators. The Vortex Generators, I just measured them again. I installed them on both wings, and they're 4¼ inches from the leading edge of the wing to the bleeding edge of the Vortex Generators. This here is a Strobe, which I got from online, and it has several different settings. It can be charged from with a USB cable from a computer, and it works very well. The only problem I've had with it was I had one of them separate and fall off, so that's why I have the safety wire on it, is to keep it together if it comes loose. But I ordered it online. It was originally made for a bicycle, and I also have a light on the front, which is a bicycle light, so that I'm legal to fly for 20 minutes after sunset each day. This time of the year it's handy to have because it gets dark pretty quick here in Southern California. The engine is a Vittorazzi 185 with a helix prop. This is a two-piece composite prop. It slides together, bolted on, has a reduction drive. Here you can see my EGT probe and my RPM probe is connected right there. The engine is attached with rubber bushings and has safety wire and also safety cables to keep things from flying off of it and into the prop. It has an air cleaner that's on top of the carburetor, and the air cleaner is roped with Victran to the airframe to keep it from flying off should the boot break, and fly into the to keep it from flying into the propeller. So here you can see the Victran as it comes out from behind and underneath the airplane to the tail section. And these here are just boat guides for different things. They're nothing special, but they work great, and they keep the ropes separated, and they guide the ropes along. These little things here is how we tension them. I could tension this one a little bit more by putting another loop around it, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. It's tight enough the way it is. And also this right here is my counterweight. Since I'm a little bit heavier than Mike, I crafted this box to sit on the tail, and I connected it with 3 radiator clamps and riveted them to the box and then clamped them to the airframe. The battery is a dead battery off of a motorcycle. It weighs about 7 pounds, and it's enough to give me the balance that I need, that the airplane will land correctly and fly correctly. And then here's the tail. The tail is right now it's sitting on my transport device. I got this from a guy who had it for sale on Craigslist. It's basically to move a trailer. You're supposed to have a ball on the top there, but I just took the ball off and left a hole in the tail skid, put a bolt through it without a nut. That way I can stick the bolt through the hole and pull the airplane around to where I need to go. And it works very well. It saves my back, so I have a lot of back problems, and makes it a lot easier for me to go flying. So the rudder here is the big 2, or Bloop 2, and it's signed with Mike's signature. I asked him to sign it one day just because he was the designer. Thought I'd give him an opportunity to make himself famous, and he agreed to do that. So I don't know, I don't think there's much else we can talk about. Bloop's a lot of fun to fly. It's garage technology. You can see it's just nuts and bolts and aluminum tubing put together, and then everything's covered up with the Seconite or cloth covering, and it's doped with the nitrile dopes, and it flies very well. The engine's powerful enough to get it in the air quickly. It climbs a little bit better than about 150 feet per minute, and it's very light. This airplane weighs less than 200 pounds dry, and it's lighter than an ultralight's supposed to be. And oh, here's another thing I wanted to tell you about was my airspeed. I'm going to be flying, and hopefully I can record how the airspeed indicator works. This is a Hall airspeed indicator. It uses just air pressure, which raises the red disc up the scale, and the scale is graduated in miles per hour. The Bloop will take off at 17 miles an hour. It'll cruise at between 20 and 25 at 6,500 RPM. And I've had it up as high as 50 on a dive. but that's about VNE on this thing. And this is the front light I was telling you about. It's just a bicycle light, and but it's bright enough that you can see me when I'm in the air. So, if you have any questions, give me a shout on my email, glennfreehafer@gmail.com, and let me know what you think. And hope you guys enjoy the video that I'm going to record later on today.